Well, welcome everyone to another episode of Terrence Williamson Author Podcast. This is, I believe, episode number 9. So this is very exciting, early days. On with us today, we have my wife, Kelsi, and Nikki McCall.
Hi.
So, so I thought I'd bring Kelsi on because you used to work with her. I didn't actually know that at first, but...
And it's funny, it's not in a dance sense. It's Red Lobster.
Yeah. Of all things.
Yeah.
So to those of my European listeners, Red Lobster, I don't know if you guys have Red Lobster there. I don't think I ever saw one when I was in Ireland, Kelsi. Yeah. So Red Lobster is like a fish restaurant.
Yes. That's the gist.
How long did you work there, Nikki?
Oh, I want to say 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was just 2 for me. Luckily, It was only 2. Some of us weren't so lucky to get out so fast.
That's right.
Do you still have serving nightmares?
Oh my God, yeah. Absolutely. Lobster mares.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yes. You have a whole room of tables and you can't get to them and they're all looking at you waving.
Exactly.
Yeah, those ones.
Yeah, so Nikki, I thought I'd bring you on because you have that Instagram page about, I'm sorry if I butcher this, but ballroom dancing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. So when did you start dancing?
It was probably around age 19. I was watching Dancing with the Stars and I just thought it was absolutely amazing. And it just so happened that I was working for College Pro Painters and my manager was a ballroom dancer. So he was like, well, come with me and I'll show you what it's all about. And then I just immediately fell in love and started from there. Yeah.
So
isn't that amazing?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a specific type of dance that you specialized in?
Ballroom is very broad. So you have your waltz and your foxtrot, tango, East Coast swing, West Coast swing, salsa, bachata. There's just so many, and so it's hard to get that advanced level, especially in Regina, because we only have a social club here. We have nothing else. So yeah, there's tons that you can get into.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite out of those ones?
The tango for sure. There's so much emotion in it and just the staccato of it, but it's also smooth at the same time. I think it's amazing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now I know, like on your the posts that you've been having out recently, you're kind of mentioning that for anyone who's a beginner, you don't really to know much dancing. Mm-hmm. So are you the one who instructs? Like, you the instructor?
I am, yep. So I'm starting with beginner dancers because, like I said, in Regina, there's only our social club. So there a lot of the people who want to be ballroom dancing right now would be just starting out. Yeah.
Interesting. So Kelsi, how long have you been doing ballet?
I went into ballet at 3 years old. But I mean, that was something that wasn't even my choice. That's just, that kind of thing. Although being in ballet for so long, I don't know if I could move my hips if I tried. After having it ingrained in you to be a certain way I remember taking even some jazz classes and having them getting you to rotate your hips. And I'm like, I don't know how. I don't think they know how to do that. But I think it's so cool that you got into it so much later. And then all the pieces fell together in such a way. And you found something that you wouldn't even have known how passionate you would have been about it until it was it just all fell in front of you like that. It was fate. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely feel for you with the hips thing because in ballroom dancing, it's very upright and proper. And then the salsa scene in Regina is actually pretty good. We do have really good dancers here for salsa. So when I went to go do salsa, it's very gritty and down to earth. And they were like, can you loosen up? And I was like, I don't know how. I feel for you.
So maybe it wouldn't. I wouldn't. Maybe that wouldn't even be too bad for me.
No,
actually,
honestly,
to try.
At the beginning, I think for sure, and then eventually, get used to it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Wow.
Now, for someone like me who's terrible at dancing.
No, honestly, anybody can do it. My husband has 2 left feet and like bull legs, and he can do it. He honestly can. So anybody can do it.
Do you find that like so how long have you been doing this with a bunch of like instructing? Sorry.
So I started instructing probably my 2nd year actually dancing. And then I had kids and then COVID hit. So I've taken probably about 4 years off. So I'm just getting back into it. I don't know how many years that is. It's too much math, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was kind of wondering, like, with respect to like different people that you've tried to instruct and all that stuff. Because I was thinking I'd always like to do it. Of course, Kelsi would have to. We're not happy.
Oh, this is news to me.
Yay! No, I've seen all sorts of ranges. I've seen like ballet dancers, jazz dancers, and then I've seen the complete opposite, people who have never danced in their life. And, it's all just about perspective and really determination. You just have to keep going until, it all falls into place.
Yeah. I think that would be quite fun.
It is. It honestly is.
Ooh.
It's a good date night for sure.
I'm gonna hold you to it now.
Well,
when COVID hit, he learned how to cook, which I didn't. I was so surprised that he had the gumption to even try that. That was like, and now he's doing so good with that. So you could dance maybe.
I think I would.
If you can cook, you can dance maybe.
Yeah, those skills transfer pretty easily.
Same skill set.
Because I think if I was going to do it, like I would like to have Kelsi and then like have a partner that you're fun with or have fun with and just enjoy the evening instead of it be a performance type thing. And I think if it was like that, I think I would quite enjoy it. So maybe performance might be fun too if I end up being good and I want to show off.
I've had lots of students too that like just start as a date night with their significant other, and then eventually they get to the point where they're like, we really want to showcase this off. So they've done performances with me. They've done like a wedding performance if they're not quite married yet. There's lots of opportunities for every social you want to do. Social dancing. Yeah. Lots
Interesting.
of, yeah.
Have you been in many performances?
Yes, we just did Swinging with the Stars, which is a local Regina organization, Hope's Home. It's a fundraiser for them. So it's super fun. So they matched us pro dancers with kind of local celebrities or CEOs in Regina. And we teach them a routine and then we do it on stage. So we actually just did that last weekend. It was awesome. That's
exciting.
Yeah, it really was.
Do you have any performances coming up if anyone wants to see one?
No. We're still trying to like figure our way around this whole COVID thing. And I know like a lot of the normal kind of like workshops or whatever are being pushed back because they just can't have that many people in a building. Like our last performance was 250 people and then it was a live stream so that people could watch it from home. Yeah.
Well, Kelsi, I know you can speak to the frustrations of doing dance under COVID.
Well, I teach the little kids, so that's just different all round. So like keeping them in a little square.
Yes.
The best of days was like herding chickens, in a regular sense. But then like trying to keep them in a square and have their mask on and oh my gosh. It's so hard.
My babies are currently doing dancing, so I don't teach them, thank God, but it looks like a lot of hard work, so we can really appreciate what you guys have to go through.
How old are your kids, if you don't mind?
4 and just turned 3.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Close
really
together.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, they're 21 months apart, so they're just in that space where the oldest hasn't quite turned.
Hmm.
Yet. But,
I see.
yeah.
And girls, right?
Both girls, yeah.
Oh, they'd be
And
so close, or maybe they fight. I don't know.
Both. They do
Yeah.
both. Yeah.
So what kind of dance do you have them in?
At this age, it's just ballet, a tap combo. Yeah.
Got to get the basics.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just learn from being in a classroom setting and kind of that having that teacher and not mom, because they never listen to mom, right? So having that teacher provide that instruction is huge.
Yeah, that's very true. Even like with it not being a parent, like during COVID when we had to homeschool, that I'm sure you've heard, but every parent complaining.
Yes. Yeah.
That was a nightmare. Because our daughter, she just doesn't want to listen to us. She's happy to listen to the teacher.
Yeah.
But to mom and dad, there's no way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And plus, some of the stuff that they'd send home, you'd be looking at. I mean, Kelsi and I sometimes we both feel like we'd be fighting because the instructions were not clear.
Yeah.
What do you want from me?
Yeah.
But yeah. So back to the dancing with COVID right now. So there's still the classes going on though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What's the age range for it?
We say adult, so typically like 18 to however old you want to dance at. Completely up to you. But yeah, 18 is around the age that makes the most sense.
Okay. Is it just you that's the instructor, or is there a few other instructors involved?
No, it's just me. I don't have a partner. It's usually typically a male in ballroom, so male, female. I don't have a partner because there's no men who are kind of at the level that I'm at right now. So I train with coaches in Calgary, and when I compete with these coaches. So I have to pay them. It's a lot of money because I have to bring them here. I have to go there. I have to pay them to dance. Me. So yeah, it's a lot of money. So unfortunately, I have to teach by myself. And it'd be a little bit different circumstances too with COVID, that I could bring in another female and then I could lead and then they would be my follow. But, especially in my age group too, a lot of the girls that I would bring in are having babies right now too. So we're all kind of like, not available.
Well, give me a couple of years and I can be your partner.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. You can have it. Yeah. That's really brave of you, honestly. Just kind of like a standalone, you have to make an effort. Like it's not something that's readily available to you. You have to spend the money, you have to travel, you have like that speaks of passion for sure. Like that's you could have picked something far more accessible. But you
don't tell my husband that.
Oh, well, you took it to a high level, and then you just like more. That's like so good. Yeah, and very unlazy. It's ambitious. It's very good.
Oh, I had a question. What was it? Oh, it just left me.
Oh, right. I'm the host. I forgot.
Oh, what was I going to ask? It was to do with dance still. I wonder if I can get back there.
What do you start your students off with mostly, like for the type of dance then?
Dances. I like to choose one smooth, which would be like a waltz, a foxtrot.
Okay.
And then what we call a rhythm dance. So that would be like your East Coast swing, West Coast swing. So East Coast swing, it's not a very familiar name, but it's basically a jive. but the steps are just slightly different. So if you think of a jive, that's East Coast swing. And then I like to throw one Latin in because Latin is one of my favorite dances for sure. So this one we're doing a cha-cha for this series that we're doing right now.
Interesting. I remember my question now.
Nice.
So with respect to male dancers, why do you think it is that there's so few who are involved?
The stigma. That's all it comes down to is a man dancing isn't manly. You know, you'll see it in ballet, like in my daughter's classes, there's one boy to the 10 girls. And it doesn't stop. Like the older you get, like often the men will come with their spouse and that's kind of where they stay. They don't ever want to progress usually past that.
Yeah, okay.
I think that's where the problem starts actually, is because there's no community of boys at that young age, you know, and it just, because they don't have anyone and you can't even blame them, can you? You know, like they're the only boy in a class with a whole bunch of girls and you just feel for them because they do want to dance and, you know, but to be with a bunch of like, that would be hard opposite. Like if I was in with a bunch of other guys, and like it would be really hard.
Yep.
So yeah, it would just be, they just need at least one other person, one other guy that's doing it at the same time. And yeah.
I will say too, though, that when I first started, I was dancing with a male and then he started to have his family and that became a priority for him, which it often does, is that his family will be the priority. And then, you know, maybe the wife doesn't want him dancing with me or there's some sort of like issue there. So I've had that a few times too. Like, yeah, they just don't want their husbands to be dancing with me, which is silly because happily married, I'm just dancing.
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of dynamics, I'm sure. It's hard to work around.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's quite interesting. So Kelsi, after baby, you gonna be my date?
I would love to be your date. Oh, I want video evidence of this too. For sure.
It's recording, so you have him saying it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I can hold you to it for sure.
So for anyone interested, what's the cost for it, Nikki?
Right now it's $60 per person. So a couple would be $120. And the preference is to have a couple because of COVID. We don't want to match you with another single person.
Yeah. So how many dance sessions does that get you?
8 weeks. So 8 classes once a week.
That's really good price.
Yeah.
I'm surprised at how good that price is. Because there's so many other.
I want to make it accessible for people. Because my niche right now is usually people that are just getting married. So to market to that, we make it affordable for that. And I set my own prices. It's not like I'm renting the studio that I go to. So I have to pay those fees to that studio. So I'm really not making any money, but you got to start somewhere. And it's my passion and I'm just going to do what I got to do.
Yeah. Well, I'm behind you all the way for that. That's exciting.
I have a question. Hold on.
Okay.
So do you find that there are a lot of couples that are learning this for their wedding so they can dance at their wedding? Is that a thing?
It is.
Oh.
It is for sure. Before babies, when I was really involved in it, I had a lot of couples that I did like an actual routine for their wedding. And that was a lot of fun because then you get to like actually choreograph something.
Oh, that's cool. I like that. It's almost like a form of premarital counseling in a way.
Oh my God,
sure.
you have no idea. Yeah, I didn't realize I was a therapist until I started instructing people on how to dance. Yeah.
It's like you're asking the women, like, why do you feel like you can't follow and you can't let the men lead? I'm sure there's lots of those women that have a hard time.
Yes, they do.
Being
and
led.
I completely understand because you want to be equal in your relationship and that's how it should be. But when you're on the dance floor, the man takes precedence and he takes lead. So sometimes that's hard for women to back off.
It'd be very hard for you to not take the lead.
Me? Well, maybe because I would. That would be very hard.
Well,
especially because if I think you're doing something wrong and I feel like I need to adjust you, I have had this problem before. I feel like it's just
I'm getting flashbacks to our whole marriage.
Oh my God. Yeah, this could be crazy for couples. Hey, you gotta watch them, like.
I will say though that the man's job is much harder because it's harder to move two people than it is to just move yourself. So if the man is actually leading properly, he's leading through the woman, not just doing the dance himself.
Interesting.
Yeah. So the man steps are always harder, but the women always comment on the man steps.
I'm sure you've seen a few fights, eh?
Oh yeah, they're usually quite silent though. Like they're never like outrageous or anything, but it's you can tell in their faces that something's going on.
It's like
there.
the eyes.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Like
well,
the body language.
Kelsi and I would be bad for that because when we fight in our marriage, it's usually we're seldomly explosive at each other. It's usually the cold,
very subtle
grudge.
You got to work it out on the dance floor, right?
That's right.
So if you get good enough, then it can be your therapy as well as your pre-marriage counseling.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, that's quite. I'm really excited at the idea of it.
Sorry,
that's fine.
Aylin's asking for an app on her iPad.
Are your kids addicted to... Go ahead. Are your kids addicted to iPad?
No, but only because we have given it to them, and then when we take it away, they like complete meltdown, and I don't want to deal with that, so they just don't get them. Yeah.
That's good. There was times like that where we just completely took it away, and her attitude got so much better.
Mm-hmm.
So no more.
We might have to do that again, but at this point right now, she's okay. So when we say get off the iPad, she'll say okay, and she'll just drop it right away. So it's like okay.
Yeah.
If they've got a good attitude about it, then it's like okay. But taking away a device before there's a newborn baby coming is not a good time. I'm sorry, it's not a good time.
No, I was there at one point. Like I had my 2-year-old on a tablet because I had a brand new baby, and I just need to feed her, watch the show. But it only lasted so long, and then we had to take it away because the tantrums like at 4, well, anything under 4 really, like they just don't know how to control their emotions. So no, it's not worth it.
That's true.
You're giving me flashbacks.
Yeah.
It's funny. This is slightly detracting. But I was on a podcast. I had a girl on not too long ago, and she's kind of talking about like how we really don't learn that well to cope with suffering or anything or any hard things in our life, and she's mentioning how like we can tend to do that with kids quite a bit when they're younger, right? So we just give them the iPad when we need something to do, or when they're sad, we give them candy. I'm bad for that. I'll give Aylin. I'll say, let's go get ice cream or something like that. I'm bad for that because then, she learns that that's how you cope is through getting treats or getting sugar.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's kind of interesting because she's talking about that. And I was thinking, well, maybe it's not necessarily us teaching how the kids to cope. It's how we cope with it. So for me to cope with Aylin being upset, I go get her ice cream instead of me dealing with it and then trying to work out that way. But just slightly detracting.
It's a good point, though.
It is, yeah. Parenting's hard. The whole thing.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Forever hard.
It must have been challenging to have 2 kids so close together.
It was, yeah.
And continue dancing.
And continue. That's the thing. When I got pregnant the first time, I actually cried. Not that I didn't want her, But the fact that I was on a dance team at that time, like I was teaching, I was really like in my groove with my whole dancing kind of experience there. And I just knew that like everything was going to change, and it did. I couldn't dance through my pregnancy because my body didn't adjust well to it. So then I came back right after, and then like basically as soon as I came back, we got pregnant with the second one. So again, I couldn't dance. So it was basically like I had like 2 months to dance in between them. And then I had my second girl. And then just when I was ready to get back in, like I started taking classes again, COVID hit. So then back to square one.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, maybe it's just because I'm pregnant right now. It's just like you don't really realize just how much like a woman has to give up for that, you know, like, and I mean, well, it's a sacrifice. Absolutely a sacrifice.
And not just dance. Like I have a career in the federal government, and I lost 2 years on there too because of taking my mat leave. So I could have been further along than I am now. So it's a huge sacrifice. I mean, it's a great sacrifice. I would never give that time back. But you just have to learn to, you know, roll with it and keep going after.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because we're on our third baby, and there's still things that surprise me, and I forget every time. Like when we're at the ultrasound last week, I couldn't believe how much space the baby takes up.
Yeah.
Like she's showing like his feet were in her ribs, and his head was down by her hip, and then like everything's being squished, like all the organs and stuff like that. And it's just strange. Like after 3 kids, and I'm still like going, man, that's intense.
And
you don't have to remind me.
Yeah, no, exactly. We had our babies like pretty much back to back. I gave like a year postnatal before we conceived the next one. But even having them back to back, you forget right away.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
You know what you know at that time, and you drop it when you don't need it because you got to move on to the next thing. You got to be quick. Exactly.
Yeah.
Survival mode the whole time. After like 7 years, which will be our kids apart, there's going to be a lot of relearning of things for sure.
Yeah.
Some of it might come more natural though, because you've already done it twice, right? So you know, some things might just be like, oh yeah, I remember. Hopefully.
Yeah, let's hope. What are your girls' names, if you don't mind?
Quinn is 4. She's the oldest. And then Emma is the one that just turned 3.
Quinn. I love that name. And Emma, too. Those are great names. Did you name them after anyone?
No, their middle names are mine and my husband's grandma's.
Okay.
But their first names, no. A funny story about Quinn is that I had picked her middle name to be Elizabeth, mostly because I like Queen Elizabeth, but also because Kelsi's grandma's name is Elizabeth. So we were trying to like figure out names that went with Elizabeth, and his mom said Quinn, and I was like, Queen Elizabeth, and I was like, it sounds like Queen Elizabeth. So I was like, yes, we're picking that one.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's perfect.
I was wondering for a second when you said Kelsi, because Kelsi is my wife, but Kelsi's also your husband.
Kelsi's also my husband. Yeah.
Okay. Like Kelsi's mom.
It can be a boy name too, right?
That's exciting. Why do you like so this Elizabeth or Elizabeth the First?
The first. I think I liked her because she was the matriarch. Like she didn't have a husband. She didn't need children. She just ruled, and she did it all by herself. I just think that's empowering. And
yeah, I was looking at that the other day because there's a bunch of monarchs at that time that were all matriarchs. So Elizabeth, Isabella and Ferdinand, her husband. And then there's a few others. And actually it's at that time when the queen on the chessboard actually became the most powerful piece because of all the female monarchs. It was at first it was called the advisor, I think, and then they ended up changing it to be the queen. So I thought that's quite neat. But we should really watch those movies again, Kelsi. Grand.
I know, right?
I was gonna say that I need to come up with another one, but I was listening to the soundtrack for that Mary Queen of Scots, that Margaret Robbie one that came out not too long ago. That one wasn't so bad either.
It was pretty good.
Yeah. Do you quite like the history of it, or you just find her inspiring?
That's like, I love history, especially like English history. Don't make me quote anything though, because I'm not very good on the spot. But yeah, like, if I had to read a book or watch a movie, it's going to be in that kind of era, like Tudors era, Queen Elizabeth. Like, yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, I remember binging the Tudors when it we used to rent it from like Blockbuster or something.
Oh yeah, way back when too. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Those are really good.
Do you read much then, like historical fiction as well? With that time period, do you read Philippa Gregory?
Philippa Gregory, novels? Oh my god, I love her. Yes, and then of course Outlander. Who hasn't read Outlander?
Oh my gosh!
Yes. Okay.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
Terrence, you can go. Oh my gosh, I've read all the Outlander books. I've been waiting for the next one to come out, and yeah, a lot of the Philippa Gregory novels, love them so much. So much. Amazing.
Yeah.
So you have great taste.
Oh, thank you.
Movies and books. See something I didn't know. Oh, I can't hear Terrence. Uh-oh. Oh, too bad. We're talking about Outlander and he has nothing to add. Did you start reading the Outlander books first, or did you watch the show and then go back?
Nope. I actually went into the bookstore and was like, hey, I like historical fiction. And he was like, hey, well, you need to read this book. And he gave me Outlander.
That's lucky.
And then Outlander came out like, I don't know, 10 years later. Like, I don't know how long it was, but it was a long time before the actual show came out, which I think they did.
That's nice.
I think they did a really good job, like picking their characters and choosing moments and stuff.
Especially like the first couple seasons was really good.
Yeah.
There were some things I wasn't like happy about like later on, like third season onwards, but pretty good. Pretty good. I mean, I can't really complain about the actors they chose exactly, because I don't mind Sam Heughan at all. Oh, there you are.
yeah, I came back to that part.
You heard that, did you?
You have to tell me about Sam Heughan. I'm just lucky he's not as pretty in real life as he is in the show.
Oh, sure he is. Don't say that.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on, Nikki.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It's a fun chat. Now, just to recap, for anyone who's watching it and who's interested in doing the dance, you mind just giving us like a quick little spiel of where you can find you, how price and everything like that, just again so everyone can know.
Sure. So my Facebook is Dance with Nikki. My Instagram is DanceWNikki. I teach in Regina, Saskatchewan. We're doing a Wednesday night class and a Saturday kind of evening class. It's $60 per person and preferably a couple. Or you can have two singles, but we don't want to be mixing and matching with COVID numbers being the way that they are. We're going to be wearing masks, so you don't have to worry about anything like that. This particular studio does not have the vac check, so if that bothers you, you can always reach out to me and we can discuss that. My email is nikkimccall17@gmail.com. You can email me if you have any questions. Is that everything? Did I cover?
Yeah, I think so. I was going to ask about masks, so you cover that off.
Yeah, so I prefer to wear masks, especially because there's not the vac check right now. And I'm not going to, go above the studio. If they don't want to ask for that, then, that's their prerogative. So I'm just going to say we're going to wear masks.
Mm-hmm. I've only. Sorry to derail this slightly, but with respect to the vaccine check, I've only had it twice so far in Saskatchewan. I flew out to BC, and everywhere, absolutely everywhere I went, they're asking for it.
Yeah.
But here in Saskatchewan, I've only found a couple places so far. It's going to be coming soon, but this podcast won't release till the end of October. But for anyone who is, just download on your phone. make it easier for the rest of us, and if you're in a long line. Perfect. Well, thanks again, Nikki, for coming on. This was fantastic, and of course, Kelsi, like I said, we'll be reaching out to Nikki after baby.
Awesome.
It was really fun catching up.
Awesome. Okay.